G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truan. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Well, Jason, thanks so much for making the time to catch up on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this discussion. I guess as a starting point, as way of introduction, I guess I know you as an expert in email and SMS marketing, and I know you've done heaps of work particularly in the e-commerce space using these tools. But, I guess from what I've picked up, some of these tools and principles can apply to almost any business. And certainly, my experience, both as a business owner and as a customer, is that email and, interestingly, SMS marketing, some really powerful tools. So why don't I sort of pass it over to you and maybe you can sort of summarize a little bit more about sort of who you are and how would you explain what you do?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. I always love reaching out to whenever I jump on a podcast is like a brand new audience. Nobody knows who I am, which sometimes that kind of sucks because I'm not, I'm not doing enough. Once upon a time, everybody knew who I was. Now it's a little bit more lucky. But so yeah, basically I do email and SMS. I have done that for about 8 years. I have specifically focused in e-commerce simply because it allows me to guarantee results.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a big thing for me is I believe in risk mitigation, and guaranteeing my results is super easy to do in e-commerce. But yeah, so wow. If anybody doesn't know me, my name is Jason K Williamson. I have today generated north of $130 million US for brands all around the world. I'm upwards of about 450 brands that I've worked with by now, and have worked in every single niche. Outside of e-commerce, I've even worked on brands like, Muay Thai brands I've worked on. I've worked on life insurance, solar companies, anything you can think of really. I think that this applies to everything because email and SMS, the thing that's exciting about it is everybody has an email.
Yep.
Everybody has a phone number.
Yeah.
Right. So this particular thing that I do, which I believe my job really is just to help collect more interested people, store them on your database, and then reach out to them more with your messaging. I really basically turn cold customers into cold visitors into warm customers. That's really my biggest goal. Is how can I take somebody who doesn't know who we are, entice them with something that's enough to get their email, and then later on their phone number with what I call the Trojan Horse Method, but we can kind of dig into that a little bit later. And then how do I get their information? And then how do I market to them, consistently to get them to end up coming back to buying whatever the service is, if it's an e-commerce, if it's a law firm, if it's a solar company, how do I get them from where they were and kind of that semi-interested state to marketing to them and getting them to make a decision. So in the grand scheme, that's really what I do. It's pretty damn simple.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's, I guess, what I like about it is to a certain extent, there's some simplicity around the fact we're limiting it to a couple of key tools. But there's no doubt that they're super powerful. And I think the other thing I see that maybe is a little bit different in terms of what you do is that you're spanning both marketing and the sales process. Am I right in interpreting it that way?
Yeah, you definitely could say that because I guess the marketing would be collecting the leads and the sales would be like selling to them. A lot of what I do is absolutely direct selling. We do sometimes a little bit of content, but most of the time, even if we do content, like we don't necessarily ever do blog posts. We might do little micro pieces of content that are educational, entertaining, but they always end up in a sale. Yeah. So yeah, I'd definitely say the marketing and the sales directly.
Yeah, excellent. So tell me a bit about, I guess, some of the principles that underpin what you do. So when you're in there and you're meeting a client for the first time, I guess, what are the principles that you're trying to unpack and put in place to make sure you can get a result using these tools?
Yeah, that's a great question. The number one principle I really apply is, well, it's not really a principle that I apply, but it's something that I look for in every single brand that I ever work with. I identify where exactly are you capturing leads, right? Where are you taking them from being just on-site visitors that we're hoping your pixel or your retargeting ads will do enough to get them back?
Yeah.
Where are we capturing them? Where are we turning them into subscribers, if it's email or if it's SMS? That's the number one thing I do every single time. So that's where I've had most of my success, is actually using like pop-ups. For example, Optimonk, who I've used for probably 5 or 6 years now. That's the number one principle I really apply, is like, how can I? It's actually a good friend of mine taught me this a long time ago. His name's Jamie Stenhouse. He always said, Jason, all roads lead to Rome. Right. And he says that at all points of like somebody entering, they should be all coming back to one place, which is basically the sale.
Yeah.
And then sorry?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
It makes sense, right? Because like there's always one place we want them to go, and whether you're on YouTube or whatever it is. I just see my job is to I almost like act as a middle ground. Whereas for example, if they're coming in and they're visiting, I want to act like I want to act like a gateway that's going to say, hey, I want to capture information. I want to get your email. I want to get your SMS using platforms like Optimonk, which allows me to do both of them at the same time with the Trojan Horse, which again, I will explain soon. And then I want to take them to Rome using email channels, using SMS. So that's my number one thing. I look at, how can I capture more subscribers? How can I create more of a database that I can now continuously market to?
Yep.
Because email, I can send 2-3 emails a day, really. Yep. All they have to do is hit unsubscribe. And if they want to unsubscribe, great. You're not on my list. I don't really care, because I got thousands more of you coming through a day. And then on top of it, we've got SMS, which I usually will take an email subscriber and upgrade them to an SMS. And then SMS has click-through rates on what sometimes you can get open rates, right? So I've seen my click-through rates being 60, 70, 80% sometimes, which you don't even see open rates like that on emails. Yeah. So two major channels that I look at, how can I start to capture as many of these as possible? And then the next principle I look at is I look at something I learned a long, long time ago, actually. You actually might know of him. His name's Jack Delosa or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Is it Jack?
Yeah, it's Jack. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went to one of his conferences when I was about 17 years old. So this is going back like 12 years ago now. Was it Bill Groscale or something? I can't remember what it was. Anyways, he said something about recency and frequency. So recency and frequency is that of, I want to be the first person in their inbox when they wake up, and I want to be the last thing on their mind. It doesn't really matter the lifespan of your service or your buy-in cycle. If it's 30 days, if it's 60, if it's 90, if it's 7 days, if you work on impulsive decisions, it doesn't really matter. My job is to be in your inbox, to be on your phone. And then the moment that you're actually ready to make that decision, because I think statistics show that somebody is going to buy a product that they're interested in within 30 days of doing it, right? Within 30 days of them like kind of shopping, they're going to make a decision, and your job is to make it you, not your competitor.
Yep.
So my job is to email them, is to SMS them, so that when they're ready to make that decision, I'm the last person on their mind, and I'm more than likely the person that they're going to go to when they decide to buy.
Yep. So you're the most recent person they've heard from, and therefore
I'm the most frequent as well, because I'm usually emailing a lot more than people think you should.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's something I'll touch base on at the end. But yeah, so two principles. One, to summarize it, would be that I would just be doing my best to capture as many people. And I talk about this as well. I talk about what I call, and everybody calls it this, but it's the Mafia Offer, right? I will always, forever and always, tell my clients, tell my customers, tell my friends, whoever it is that's working on building a business, I'll always say, offer the most juiciest things up front, right? Because we already know 80, 90% of your audience is going to leave your website and probably never, ever return.
So give them the best
you've got
stuff.
The opportunity. Yeah.
Up front. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always offer the best stuff up front. I always give them what I call a Mafia offer, right? An offer that they cannot refuse.
Yeah.
Always. And I'll tell my clients, my customers, my friends, I'll say, always put that on your pop-up, right? If they come onto your website, put a big, juicy Mafia offer that they literally feel stupid saying, no, I don't want this.
Right.
And that's the number one. Then number two is, once I've got them, I'm just going to continuously market to them because I want recency and frequency. When they're ready to make a decision, I want them to think, these guys who have been in my inbox, and this is probably something to be, this is something that everyone talks about, but I guess the third principle would be value. Even if you're an e-commerce brand, don't just annoy them with offers of like, oh, like this is running out. Actually try and bring value to their life. And this is why I do infotainment. This is why I do educational content that always leads to a sale. But I like to bring value to my customer's life as well, so that they enjoy opening my emails, and my relationship is not just sell, sell, sell. It's give, and sell at the same time. But I'm also giving you entertainment. I'm giving you value. I'm giving you education. So once I've captured them, I market them like a lot, but I also deliver a lot of value in my emails.
Okay. So I guess if I'm to paraphrase that, just to make sure I understand, number one is continue to build your database. Secondly, come up with an offer that is of massive value that they feel stupid saying no to, the Mafia offer, and recency and frequency. Just continue to be in front of them, so when they're ready to make that decision, you're right there, ready to go.
Yep. And then if you were to round it up on the fourth one, it'd be just always deliver value. Like, make sure that every single point that you reach out to them is valuable.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a very cliche guru marketing thing to say, but there's a reason why everyone says it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? There's something in that for sure. Excellent. So let me chuck a couple of examples at you, and you tell me how you would potentially work with these sort of situations. So there were some people I was talking to today. In fact, they've got a bricks and mortar store that largely sells kind of home brewing equipment, distilling, fermenting stuff. And they've recently launched an online store, really with the goal of being able to spread a little bit more geographically, because at the moment they're kind of constrained to people, within the town, and they do have visitors that come to the store from elsewhere, and they'll stock up on stuff to keep them going for the next 3 months. But they're like, well, hey, why don't we set up an online store? We can deal with these people regularly. Plus, we've suddenly opened our doors to, as far as your imagination wants to take you. They're starting from scratch. They've got a little bit of a database in terms of their online store. Obviously, they've got all the products, all the expertise. Just talk me through how would you deal with someone like that, and how would we apply email and or SMS marketing to grow that business?
Yeah. So two things I would do immediately. Number one is I would actually get this one's a little bit out there, and I don't know if it's possible yet. We work with a brand called Vice with the number one, and they basically do like these cards that you can tap on the back of your phone, and it gives you the information.
Right.
I'm not too sure if you can. Yeah. So it's like a business card that you can tap it, and it will instantly create a contact on your phone, and you can just put it there.
Wow.
So instead of going around handing out business cards, you can literally put your phone number in everyone just by tapping that little thing at the back.
Wow.
I would do something similar to that at the front, or a QR code that say like, hey, sign up for our SMS list and save 20% off or 10% off, whatever you want to do on your next return visit or something. Right. And I would want them to hit that QR code. I'd want to open, you got to have so if anybody's watching, because compliance in SMS is gigantic. Let me quickly explain compliance so that people understand. Compliance is that my customer needs to know explicitly that they're signing up for marketing via text messages, right? There can't be no trickery. There can't be no like hiding my words or masking things. They need to know and truly understand that they're joining my text message list to get automated or marketed text messages from me.
Yep. Great point.
So that's super important. There's always a little compliance language you can put there. Two ways we could do this. We could put the QR code and then you are going to be joining our SMS list, blah, 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 boom. And you can open up a pre-built text message. It would say, I want to join the SMS club and get 20% off my next purchase. Boop, press send, and then boom, they'd get the sign up. Or
wow, cool.
A landing page, which could just be very simple. Hey, like join our SMS list. And then where it has their phone number, submit, you'd have the compliance language underneath instead of on the SMS, on the QR. Or if that little Vice card could do it, there's ways like, I don't know if you could set up a website. If you just tap it and the website like loads, but QR code works too. So the first thing I would be doing is that I would be making sure that every single person in the store gets a big juicy Mafia offer on the exit, which is to sign up for our SMS list so that we can continue to market to you and we can continue to reach out to you. That's number one. The second thing I would be doing is making sure that that online store, because this is going to build both their databases. You've got foot traffic and now you've got like, web traffic.
Yep.
I would be making sure that they would have a pop-up. I would be obviously recommending that they use OptiMonk because I just think it's just such an easy tool to use. And it's super effective. It has like no like problem loading on your website. So that's one thing we got to be careful of. A lot of these pop-up builders actually do create stress on your website, and the way that their code loads, it slows your website down. And we know that I think there was a study done a long time ago that if your website takes more than 4 seconds to load, something like 75% of your traffic leaves.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So website speed, load speed is gigantic. That is one of the biggest needle movers in when you're in CRO, like conversion rate optimization. One of the biggest things that we're going to do is we're actually going to improve the website loading speed. That's always going to move the needle the most. Right. So that's number one. So I like to push that for many reasons. I would be creating a pop-up that again would have a very, very, very juicy offer. Now, I'll explain the Trojan Horse Method because this is what I would use here. If you sign up for a website, right? If you sign up for a website, Rob, and you were to get this is what I hate people doing this, right? If you were to get the email and it says, hey, like sign up for 10% off, just enter your email. And then you say, all right, cool. It's like rob@myemail.com, like submit. And then the next step they go, oh, you're one step away. Just give us your phone number. I know that Liam Neeson is somewhere going, I will find you and I will kill you, because they're holding your like discount at ransom. Right.
Yes.
Just give us your phone number. Like that wasn't discussed before. I know my wife, she does a lot of like fashion brands that she jumps on the websites. A lot of like, they all tend to do that. And every single time she's like, oh no, like this wasn't there.
Yeah.
The reason why we do that, right, is because there's no added value, right? There's no extra value to me. Instead of value stacking, you've actually just taken value away by asking for my phone number without doing anything in return. You've actually just added an extra step on without giving me anything for it.
Yeah.
And one day it clicked for me. I was going through a drive-through. I was going through McDonald's, right? And trying to watch my way. So I got a medium meal instead. And I got to the end. I got to the part where I had to pay. And she goes, "Do you want to upgrade that to a large for just $1 or something like that?" And without even thinking about it, I was like, "Yeah, sure." Boop. And then I thought to myself, "Wait a minute! Like the way she did that, like she didn't like put it on me. She didn't like stress me out. Like it was a very like, would you like to upgrade?"
Yeah.
We've always known that, McDonald's, well, you want to upgrade your fries? Like it's a famous thing. And I thought, well, what if I did, do you want to upgrade to SMS? What if we use the framing upgrade to SMS and we'll actually give them something extra? So we developed something called the Trojan Horse Method, which is what OptiMonk and I have really been pushing for a long time because it works so damn well. I know for a particular brand, the Udi, I've generated actually multiple 7 figures just using this one method alone through their SMS. And I think we captured like 100,000 plus subscribers with this one method. And what we would do is instead of like holding your discount ransom, I would upgrade you. So I would say, hey, do you want to sign up for 10%? And you say, yes. The next step I'd say, do you want to upgrade your discount to 15%, to 20%? Right? All you got to do is join the SMS club. Yes, upgrade me. No, thanks. 10% is fine. If they say yes, upgrade me, the next step is we'll enter your phone number and we'll send you the upgraded discount. And lo and behold, we get like 50 to 60 to 70% of email subscribers upgrading to SMS. So the thing that this does, right, is it doesn't lose those initial subscribers because now they have the power of choice.
Totally.
Either way, it's a win-win for us.
Yes.
We get your data. We get to market to you.
Yeah.
But we get the added option of upgrading to SMS, which to me is the reason I would say to anybody, double your discount always works. I always say, hey, would you like to double your discount? Just join the SMS club. Yes, double my discount. I get 60, 70% conversion rates on that. The first step I would actually use for an email, by the way, is instead of saying 10%, I said you want a mystery discount. Like, hey, you've unlocked a mystery discount. Do you want to reveal your code? And it's like, I usually get a 10 to 15% conversion rate on that, which is freaking huge. I did get the Audi they used to be at 8% and I got them well above 12.
Yeah.
And you could imagine with that brand, the traffic that they get.
Absolutely.
That's a giant increase.
Yeah.
And so we did the mystery discount. And then on the next step, it will say, hey, your discount is 10%. Do you want to double your discount? Join the SMS club. And then we got 60% of them say yes to that. So you're now effectively capturing, if you're at, say, for example, 10% and then 50% say yes, you're effectively capturing 5% of your website traffic and turn them into subscribers with their SMS.
Yep. Which
is ridiculous, especially some brands that are cranking their numbers. That is a giant boost in SMS. And then I do what PostScript allows me. I love PostScript as an SMS platform because I think they're, in my opinion, the best SMS platform for e-commerce in Shopify without a shot. They allow me to do something called a keyword reply, which basically means that the moment that we sign up via a keyword, so the keyword being upgraded or something, which you literally just say, enter your phone number here, submit, and then the API would say they joined the upgraded. They get an instant keyword reply, which would say, hey, like, congrats for signing up. Here's your discount. And I use the words, click here to activate your 20% discount. My click-through rates are like 80 to 90%.
Yep.
And the reason I love it is the reason I love SMS as well is because if you reach, could you reach your phone within a hand's reach right now?
Yes, I could. Yes.
Same. It's here at all times. So
Bang.
if I get a text message, I'm going to read it, right? Whether or not I want it or not, I'm going to read it. And if it's a good enough offer, I'm probably going to click it. And I think studies have shown that 98% of texts are read.
Yeah.
And I think it's read within the first like 4 hours as well.
Oh, I'd believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
really
why
powerful, isn't it?
It is. That's why it's super powerful. And then the other thing that we got to think about as well is what do we optimize our websites for?
It's get more sales.
But what do we optimize for? What particular device?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
We're capturing them on our biggest, because this is where we send 70, 80, 90% of our traffic to a mobile. Now we're getting their SMS where they can click through and be purchasing on the platform that they're more than likely going to buy on. So I'm not emailing them. They don't have to go back on their thing. They don't have to struggle to get through. That's the other thing that I think they do as well when they go to email. I love email. I make actually most of my revenue for email, but the highest ROAS comes from a text. Is that they struggle to get through. And then sometimes it goes in your spam and sometimes it goes here and it's in your updates or your promos. So I love to offer super juicy things for my SMS subscribers because I think that they're the most important. So to kind of like round that up, I like to talk about the Trojan Horse because I really just think it's such a phenomenal way to capture subscribers. You get your email and you get your SMS at the same damn time, and you usually get way more. Multiple brands I've worked with, I've gone for the direct like SMS offer where it's like, hey, like join the SMS club, you know, just as a pop-up, like join our SMS and we'll send you a discount. And actually maybe 3 to 4% at best are saying yes. But then those brands that I do the Trojan Horse method with, I can get 60, 70% at a 15% conversion, effectively 8 to 10%. I can almost double or triple their SMS subscribers.
Yeah.
Find it hard to define a clear strategy, then communicate it and execute it alongside the rest of your team? Or you currently don't work a simple quarterly strategic plan to boost your team's performance? Our Business Growth Formula online course is perfect for small business owners with 5 to 30 team members wanting to grow. We share the mindsets, habits and tools to be a legendary leader in your business. growsmallbusiness.com.
No, it's super powerful, isn't it? And I guess the other thing we were talking about before we went live was, you know, how applicable is this to businesses that aren't e-commerce? And I threw an example at you and said, you know, what about something like a suburban law firm? I mean, could they make use of email and SMS marketing to grow their business?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think this is where the approach changes now. So this is one thing that I love about OptiMonk, and I'm very, very excited for the future of OptiMonk. Is I've been using them for 5, 6 years now. And they've been a pop-up tool, but they're moving more into the personalization space. And when you come to something like this, I believe personalization is going to be really, really important, because we've got to be talking to the customer as if they're a real person and their problem is their own and it's unique, right? Because when you're going to a law firm, you're going there for a specific problem to be solved. You ain't going there for an overarching, like, hey, like maybe I just want to speak to a lawyer for something. I don't know what. You got a problem, a specific problem you need to solve. So I think personalization, which OptiMonk is really, really diving deep into the personalization space, and that excites me because I get to work with that tool on a larger scale. I get to work with all my brands using personalization. But one of the things that we get to do is, for example, if somebody's, kind of like looking at, let's just say, hit and runs, right? Then they're more than likely going to have Googled a bunch of stuff about hit and runs.
Yeah,
and
true.
If they first jump on our website and we get to cookie them, and they maybe they jump off for a little bit and they come back later after doing a bit of research, we get them back through remarketing or something, we can actually use OptiMonk. I think they're even coming out with like a headline embed, and we can even start to change the content on the website specific to what they've looked at. So if they've gone ahead and searched like, car incidents or like hit and runs, the headline on the website could literally say, are you a victim of a hit and run?
Yep.
Personalization, right?
Yep.
We've looked at where they've gone and what they've done, what they've experienced, and then we've said. There's also like a very, very cool kind of new thing that's happening, which is like called like data matching, where we'd kind of use like a shared pixel that we would buy and it would be shared. This is USA, so this is just more like just adventurous and fun to listen to, but it's very, very applicable, and we're using it right now, and it's very, very, very lucrative. But one of the things might be is that they would opt in, and your terms of services would state that once you're on the website, you've opted in and you can share the data. But they would have said opted in on like a different law firm, maybe like 6 months ago, and their data has been tracked this entire time. And then we'd actually get to see that they'd been searching terms like, like hit and runs. And the first time they visited the website, we could actually use that information to showcase them like, hey, like we noticed that you're interested in hit and runs kind of thing.
Yep.
They don't have to know. Don't be like, oh, like we saw that you've been searching hit and runs, because that would creep them out.
Yeah.
But personalization. So going into that personalization, first and foremost, I'd want to be specific. Again, 2022 onwards has got to be specific. People are unique and they want to be treated that way. I would then, for a law firm, be doing the same thing, but taking less of an offer approach and taking more of a content/educational approach.
Yeah.
But again, personalized. So this is where I'd want to know where they've been and what they've done and what they're searching. Or you can get a bit more creative and create quizzes, like what are you trying to learn? But I would be offering them what we'd call a lead magnet, right? It's very much like a service-based business at this point. So I would go ahead and try my best to discover, if it's not through remarketing, if it's for a quiz, I want to know what is their number one problem. And then I'd want to offer them some sort of a lead magnet, like a guide or a checklist of things that you need to look for in a law firm when dealing with hit and run accidents. Right there and then, you're going to get a good opt-in rate because you're being very specific and you're trying to learn more about the customer, which in that scenario, they want to feel like they've been spoken to about their problem.
Yeah.
I think one of their biggest complaints, actually, I know doing a bit of research, one of the biggest complaints is they don't want to be treated like everybody else. They want to be spoken to specifically. And when a company digs deeper into their problems and gets to know them, they feel like they're actually speaking to a real person more than just a marketing bot.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do is I'd be using tools like OptiMonk for the return, and I'd be using their embed features of personalization. I'd be like, you were looking at hit and runs, or on the first initial visit to capture them, I'm using a pop-up, which would probably more lead into a quiz, which would discover what they're about and then offer them something juicy, like a checklist based on hit and runs.
Yeah.
In that scenario, you can have like a law firm should know more times than none. All businesses will know what their main customer base is. Is it hit and runs? Is it like somebody's constantly getting into food poison incidents? I don't know. But I'd take your top 4 to 6 kind of problems that come up more frequently. I'd use them as the main route, and then I'd create checklists for them, and I'd be like, download our checklist and blah, blah, blah. And then again, I'd apply the same principles. I would give them value and I would reach out frequently. But in a scenario like this, the call to action is going to be different, right? The call to action usually would be like, come and like buy and get to the checkout. Here, you really want to get them to go on to a consultation, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All the CTAs would be leading to more of, I would call a soft close where you'd be just saying, hey, like if you're still interested, I would actually create, this is where I get hyper specific. I would actually, in each and individual one of them, I'd create stories based on what would be their number one. I'd go for desire. What's your biggest desire? Well, you want to win a claim. Number two, what's the biggest pain? Right? What's the biggest pain? What's going to happen? Like what's going to happen if you don't achieve this? Right? And I would probably go through my number one pain and my number two biggest pain. And I'd find that through Reddit. I'd find that through YouTube, and I'd find out, through Facebook groups or something, what is their biggest pain in this, like, what are they struggling with the most? I would address that, and then I would fix that. And I would create a sequence of emails, and I'd probably just go email here, by the way. I wouldn't go SMS. The law firm, I think that could get too intrusive. I would create these sequences, and at the end of every one of them, hey, if you're interested in, like solving this problem or whatever, just jump on a free consultation with us.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. And again, it's all about delivering value through the sales process, not just at the point of sale. Mm-hmm. And I guess that it still comes back to all the same sort of principles. Mm-hmm. What would be, I guess, the one takeaway you would have for a business owner that they should be thinking about regarding email and SMS marketing?
I say this every single time, and I'll continue to say it. 2 takeaways. Number one, start collecting. Doesn't matter where you are, what you do, just start collecting more leads using a pop-up.
Yep.
I don't care who you are, what you do, start now. And the next thing is send far more emails than you think you should. A lot of people might send once a month. I'm sending 3 to 5 times a week.
Yep. Okay.
But even if you start now, start sending 2, start sending 3. Just start to communicate with your customers far and more frequent. Like I said, recency and frequency. If you start collecting and you start like sending emails or text messages at that same time, if you use the Trojan Horse Method that I talked about, if you start to do those 2 principles, if you take them as 2 key takeaways, and you didn't hear a word I said throughout the entire thing, but if you hear start collecting more and start sending more, you're going to start winning more.
Yeah.
It's actually that simple. That's the reason I did so well.
Awesome. Yeah.
Just did those simple things.
And tell me, how do people find you if they're looking to find out more about what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, I used to say Facebook. I used to say, hey, like just add me on Facebook. I'm happy to have a chat. But my Facebook account has gone missing because of that 2-factor authentication.
Oh, okay.
It was on an old dead phone, and I cannot for the life of me get back onto that. So usually, honestly, JasonKWilliamson.com.
Yeah.
I'm actually
pretty easy to find there.
Moment, but
Jason K Williamson.
I'll probably be doing the same thing where I'll offer you something valuable and you sign up for it, and then I'll communicate via email.
Great.
But yeah, the other thing as well is I'd love to point out as well is OptiMonk. I genuinely believe OptiMonk is going to be a massive piece of anybody's puzzle right now, because I use OptiMonk for everything that I do when it comes to email capture, SMS capture, quizzes, leads, personalization. So I would highly encourage anybody who's going to be starting to capture building pop-ups, like skip all the other ones and use OptiMonk. Okay. I've been using that for 5-6 years, and I literally don't look elsewhere because of it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, really appreciate everything you've shared with us today, Jason. It's really fascinating to hear. It's obviously a really powerful sales and marketing tools that we've covered. And I love the fact you can apply it in so many situations. It's fantastic. So really appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to dealing with you more in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man.
And for our audience, we would greatly appreciate a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. More reviews means we bubble up higher in iTunes, etc. So more business owners looking for podcast help with their growth will find us.